Have you ever noticed that your body starts changing before your period even arrives? Your breast feels tender, your emotions more sensitive, your patience becomes thinner. Maybe acne starts popping up along the jawlines, and suddenly everything feels harder, requires more effort. Not necessarily that your life went up a level in terms of difficulty overnight, but because your body is reallocating its energy toward a more important physiological process. Many women decide to power through without stopping and asking themselves, do I have enough fuel to keep going? They push themselves to exhaustion. Because before menstruation even begins, your body is already preparing internally. Circulation changes, hormones shift, blood begins to move downward, and all of that requires energy. But instead of supporting the body during this phase, modern life often teaches women to push harder. More work, more stress, more discipline, less sleep. And then we wonder why we feel emotionally overwhelmed every month. Healing is like 10-year garden, and in every video, we water the roots. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Amy and welcome back to this feminine series. Like always, I'll be guiding you to understand your body better, restore balance, and heal naturally. And today, I want to talk about something very important. How to support your body before your period without forcing anything. I think one of the biggest mindset shifts that women need to hear is this. Your symptoms before your period are not random. They are often signals that your body is under strain during a very energy-demanding transition. Because before menstruation even begins, your body is already preparing internally. Hormones shift, circulation changes, blood begins to move downward. And in traditional Chinese medicine, this downward movement matters a lot. Because when blood and qi are being directed toward menstruation, there is naturally less available for everything else. Which is why women feel more tired, more emotionally sensitive, less resilient to stress, and more reactive before the period, especially if they're already depleted to begin with. And honestly, modern women are expected to continue functioning at full capacity during all of this, which is probably why a lot of women stop listening to their body entirely, because we are expected to function in the exact same way every single day of the month, even though the body itself is changing. In TCM, our period is closely related to our kidney, liver, and spleen. And if you have watched my 五脏 series, you already understand why. The kidney governs your reserves and foundational energy. Your liver governs the flow. The spleen governs transformation and nourishment. So before period arrives, the body is already heavily relying on circulation, blood nourishment, and regulation. This is why symptoms appear before you even start bleeding. The body is communicating something is under strain. Now let's talk about something that many women struggle with. Mood swings. Because honestly, I think this is one of the hardest parts emotionally. You feel more irritated easily, more emotionally sensitive, more reactive. And afterwards you think, was I like that? But from a TCM perspective, that makes a lot of sense. Before menstruation, qi and blood are moving dynamically. And if liver qi is already constrained from overwork, lack of rest, stress, and emotional suppression, then that movement becomes less smooth. And what happens when flow becomes constrained? Pressure builds, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Thus, this is why some women feel exhausted, irritable, emotional, and overwhelmed before the menstruation even begins. The issue is not simply because we're being emotional. It is that the system itself is struggling to regulate smoothly. This is the analogy that I want you to remember. Menstruation is a little bit like winter transitioning into spring. During winter, things are slower, more internal, more restorative. And then gradually the snow begins to melt. Movement returns, circulation changes, things begin shifting again. That transition should happen gently, naturally. But if the environment becomes extreme, the transition becomes unstable. And this is where I think modern lifestyle creates problems. Because many women are living in a constant state of internal global warming. Too much stress, too little rest, too much stimulation, too much emotional pressure. Beauty blooms in harmony, but excessive cold, excessive heat, both disrupts the system. And this is why balance matters so much. Again, I think modern culture is extremely hard on women hormonally. We glorify overwork, sleeping late, surviving on caffeine, emotional suppression, and constantly pushing through. And sometimes some women even say this proudly, such as, I've only slept for 4 hours and I got the presentation done. Or I haven't rested all week because I have a lot to do. But eventually your body keeps score. Or, hey, Dr. Amy, this is my 4th cup of coffee. And often your menstrual cycle is the first place that it shows, because the cycle reflects circulation, recovery, nourishment, stress, and internal balance. And I think many women have become disconnected to what normal should feel like, because stress has become so constant that exhaustion feels normal because everybody else is exhausted. Irritability feels normal too. Poor sleep is normal. Everybody else is having poor sleep. And severe PMS is absolutely normal too. By the way, these are all not normal. These are all your body's cry for help. The body becomes loud enough that it can no longer be ignored. Trust me, you don't want to get to that step. And I think this is why so many women feel so disconnected from their cycle. Because instead of learning to work with your body, we are taught to override it. So what should you not do before your period? And let's make this practical. Because I know that there's a lot of people that just tell me, okay, Dr. Amy, tell me what not to do. So here I have for you a gentle TCM version. Before your period, try not to constantly sleep late. What does sleep late mean? Well, in TCM, it means after 11 p.m. So you should be in bed by, I'd say, 10:30 and fall asleep before 11 p.m. Next, what you should not do is excessively push yourself through exhaustion. Don't overbook yourself. Make time for yourself. Do not emotionally bottle up everything, which is why I'm such a big fan of writing a diary. And please don't aggressively fast. Neither should you excessively train. And very often I have so many patients who are surviving on caffeine. Girl, you need proper quality sleep. And lastly, please do not flood your body with cold things. So your iced coffee, ice cream, frappuccinos. And yes, we need to talk about ice drinks. Now, before everyone attacks me, some people tolerate cold food completely fine. But if you already struggle with painful period, severe cramps, amenorrhea, clotting, fatigue, poor circulation, or obvious deficiency symptoms, then honestly, it may be worth reviewing your diet. Because from a TCM perspective, cold constricts. It slows movement, slows circulation. It weakens transformation. And menstruation relies heavily on smooth flow. And when circulation becomes constrained, the body has to work harder in order to move what should be naturally flowing smoothly. And that tension is often what women experience as cramps. So if the system is already struggling, adding excessive cold will worsen the stagnation. Again, I'm not saying this to scare you, but I'm sharing this so that you can understand. Now, the next thing that I would like to share is the support, don't force framework. And this is the biggest thing that I want all women to understand. Before your period, your body often needs support, not punishment. And support can look surprisingly simple. And I think this is also where a lot of women get stuck, because they assume that support has to be extreme. Complicated supplements, perfect routines, strict control. But often the body responds better to gentleness, consistency, and rhythm. Therefore, sleep slightly earlier. Even 1 hour helps, because the body restores blood and ink deeply at night. Eat warmer, nourishing food. Not because warm is magical, but because the digestion functions more efficiently when the system is supported. Reduce extremely intense workouts if you feel like your body is depleted. Please don't power through it. And movement is important, but excessive strain during exhaustion is really helpful. Observe your body. This is something I personally do. Sometimes before my period, I'll notice acne growing on my lower jaw area, on my chin. I would experience breast tenderness. I definitely feel a change in energy as well as emotional sensitivity. And all of this I treat it as feedback because my body is communicating to me in real time what I've been doing for the past few days and even month. The better you understand your pattern, the more answers and solutions you can get. And finally, the goal is regulation. But many women are trying to control their body. TCM teaches something more gentler. We need to support this regulation because the female body is dynamic. It changes, it moves, it transitions. And when the system is supported properly, the cycle often becomes smoother naturally. Not because we controlled the body more strictly, but because we started to support it properly. We stopped fighting with our body. And one of the most beautiful things I've seen in clinic is how much a person can change when they feel supported. Some women who thought that period pain is genetics, severe cramps is normal, and that exhaustion is just adulthood, they slowly realize that it was just their body asking for support. So my darlings, I think one of the most powerful things that a woman can learn is how to work with their body instead of against it. Not every month will feel perfect, but understanding your cycle changes everything. Because suddenly the body stops feeling confusing and starts feeling intelligent, responsive, and understandable. Healing is like tending a garden, and sometimes the most important thing that we can do is create an environment so that the body can feel safe enough to function well. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better, I would love for you to continue this feminine health series with me because we're going to keep exploring women's health from a TCM perspective, how to become stronger, heal naturally, and how to apply ancient wisdom to our modern life. I want all of you to heal, to thrive, and to strive for what you want in this life. And most importantly, I hope that everyone can stop seeing themselves as the enemy. Your body is working tirelessly. Thank you so much for your time. Leave a comment down below and share with me what do you think is your biggest hurdle as a woman? Or to the gentleman, what questions do you have on feminine health? I'm so grateful for all the comments that everybody left. I've read messages that people said that they actually understand themselves better and they are actually even healing. Yes, thank you so much everyone. I wish you all good health, and good health is the ultimate fortune and the only investment with endless return. And when do we start investing? Right now.